Today we're talking about how to intelligently structure your income plan for your retirement. How do you create stable, predictable, consistent income that can grow over time and that lasts your lifetime? On the screen, I have a little example. We have Bob and Sue. That's my creative names for the day. And in their example, they've saved $1 million. Now, guess what? You might have more money than that. You might have less money than that. Don't worry about that. Just let's focus on the concept here. They've, based on their situation, we've identified that they want about $40,000 a year of income from that $1 million. So they might have Social Security, maybe pension, maybe rental income, but they need that $1 million they've saved to generate $40,000 a year of income. How can we do that? Well, you'll notice on the screen we've got three buckets. We've got liquid, income, and growth. First, liquid bucket. What's going on there? So this liquid bucket, notice that's money that you have at the bank. Now, you've probably heard this. Most financial advisors tell you you want to have 3 to 6 months saved in emergency funds at the bank. 3 months of your spending to 6 months of your spending. I'm just going to tell you that when you're in retirement, you probably want more than that. And a good rule of thumb we've found is that somewhere between 6 and 12 months, that seems to make the most sense. The rest of your money, though, your retirement assets, should really be segregated, if you will, between income-focused accounts and growth-focused accounts. So what's going on here? An income-focused account is a place that you put money where your principal is protected and guaranteed. And the idea is you put a chunk of money in there and you just want to pull all of the income that you need. In this case, $40,000 a year. You want to take it out until that account is gone. And the balance of the money is going to go in the growth account, which is more market oriented. And as you're pulling income out of the income bucket, the growth bucket is, of course, growing over time. So let's look at a couple of ways that this might be set up for our friends here, Bob and Sue. Let's imagine that, let's imagine that Bob and Sue are like 62 years old maybe, and they've just retired, and they still have a mortgage. In fact, their mortgage is probably going to last, if they pay it off on schedule, probably another 12 years. So what they know in their minds is, okay, for the next 12 years, we know we need that $40,000, but after that, it might go down a little bit because we don't have a mortgage to pay anymore. So they can kind of readdress their income planning at that point. They might deposit $40,000 or $400,000 in that income bucket. They want 40 grand a year. So what are they going to do? They're going to take that 40,000, 40 every year out of that income bucket until it's gone. And typically, if you set this up properly, it should take about 12 to 14 years. Somewhere in that range, that bucket's empty and it's gone. And what does that mean? It means the rest of their money, $600,000, just been sitting here in that growth account, just growing over that 12 to 14 year period. And you don't need big rates of return. If you just earn 6% a year on average, which you should do better than that in a growth bucket, but let's say you're in 6, that thing's going to grow to 1.2, 1.3 million during that time frame. So you're like, wow, this is great. I started with $1 million. I took out 40 grand a year for 12 to 14 years. I took out about $500,000 over time. And I ended with about 1.2 million or maybe more. That works out well, right? And then, it's 12 to 14 years later, this bucket's empty. This bucket's got 1.2 or 1.3 million in it. And this is where Bob and Sue say, okay, maybe it's time to play the game again, but maybe with some different numbers based on their situation. Here's another thought, another option. Let's imagine Bob and Sue here. They're saying they don't have a mortgage. You don't have to worry about that. But let's say they're thinking this. And this is what most of the people we talk to think. They're saying, well, let's see, I'm 62. If I could have my money last till I'm like somewhere in 85 to 90, how much would I have to put in that income bucket where it would last until I'm like 85 or 90? Because that's probably about how long I'm going to live. How much would I have to put there to last what is likely to be the rest of my life, or pretty close? They put in $600,000. That would last, again, managed properly, easily 23, 26 years. That would get them to, 85 to 90, right in that range. If they're still living at that point, the other 400,000 goes in the growth account. Guess what? If they're still living, that account's going to be worth 20, 23 years, that long of a time. That thing's going to be worth like probably $1.6 million pretty easy. Hey, getting income, 20 some years of income. They pulled out 40,000 over maybe 25 years. That's like $1 million that you're taking out of income out of a $600,000 account over time. And this thing grows to like $1.5 million. That works really well. Oh, that one works really, really well. Our friend Sue, she says, hey, Mike, my mother lived until she was 102. I'm worried that I'm going to live. I'm in better shape at my age at 62 than my mom was. What if I live longer than that? Like, oh, okay. The question is, how much do I have to put here where that income's guaranteed for life? Well, the answer is probably about 800,000. You put about 800,000 there, you can probably get that 40,000 guaranteed for life, or pretty close to that number. That leaves 200,000 on the growth side. Now, by the way, I'm going to tell you this. I'm not the world's biggest fan of this last one, mostly because in this example, it takes 80% of their money to get that income for life. I think that's too big of a number. Like in my view, I don't want to really see that number be more than, say, 60% of a client's portfolio. But, there are options out there that do that. And there are cases where that makes sense. So in any event, the point I'm trying to get across is this. Is there one way to do this that's exactly perfectly right? No, of course there's not. Everybody's different. Everyone is different. What I wanted to share with you, though, is more the concept. This is how you structure your accounts in retirement, and it works. It works in good markets. It works in bad markets. This is how you structure things so you can have the best shot at making sure your money lasts, so it can protect your lifestyle, so that you can enjoy your retirement years and you don't have to worry about your money running out, right? This gives you the best shot at doing that. And we've been using this approach for many, many years, over 20 years now. It's worked very effectively. So there you go. I hope you find this type of discussion helpful. But there you go. That's how you create income in retirement so that you can truly enjoy your best years that are to come.